getting high, drinking all the time just for fun. And I don't know where or when I crossed that line, and I started dying. I was so far gone, I couldn't find myself. On the borders of insane is where I screamed for help. Then I found the door that opened up my eyes, and I came alive. In the rooms where broken angels go, and love is like an army that comes to save.
Welcome everyone to Time to Heal. My name is Pam Hemphill and I'm your host today. On this show, I bring you the dark side of addiction into a whole new light. First, I want to start off by sharing with you, since some of you don't know my background, that I've been clean and sober now for 35 years. I'm a certified alcohol and drug counselor. I have experience in helping those with gambling problems, eating disorders, anger management, and more. I've worked in the field of addiction treatment for the past 30 years. I'm still learning what to do and what not to do. I've read every book you can read on addiction and recovery. You know, even with my knowledge and my experience, there's nothing I can do for my son. He's out there homeless on the streets, drinking himself to death. If I could fix anyone, it sure would be my son. You know, my brother too has been sober 39 years, and with me, I have 35. I don't think God said, I think I'll get Mike and Pam clean and sober, but I won't help her brothers or her children. I don't think God does that. There's a point where a person has to make a decision for themselves. They want recovery. We're not anything special. You know, I've read a lot of books. There's a lot of experts out there on this problem. But, you know, so far, the solution from science, there hasn't been any. So, again, what I always tell people is same problem, same solution. God could and would have saw it. I want to start off today, and I'm going to talk about my favorite subject, God. But first, I want to share something with you. It's all over the news about our heroin epidemic and the Fed Up rally. Adolescents are now using heroin at a higher rate, and babies are being born addicted, higher rate of suicide, higher rate of depression, mental health problems, riots, racism, wars, on and on. We're fighting everything and everybody. What are the problems? Well, I'll share some with you. We're asking for treatment to be more available for the poor people. Racism, what is that? I thought it was gone, didn't you? War? Whose war? Remember what Gandhi said, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Homelessness, it's been here forever. Babies addicted to drugs when they're born, it sickens me. Drug overdoses, I'm having nightmares. On Facebook, I hear about a death every day. People hating. Now that's the real disease. That's the problem. I want to talk to you a little bit about recovery for a moment, and then I'm going to come back to some of these issues. Excuse me for reading when I'm talking here because I can lose my chain of thought, and I want to make sure I don't forget some of the things I want to share with you. Dr. Bob, he was the founder with Bill W. of our beautiful Alcoholics Anonymous program. He made a statement in his own story. He said, what did the man do or say that was different from what others had said? He said, I read a great deal and talked to everyone he knew who thought they knew something about the subject of alcoholism. But this man, he said, who came to him, which was Bill W., had experienced many years of frightening drinking. So back to the same thing. One alcoholic, one addict talking to another is the only thing I've heard of, actually witnessed to see that works. It's worked for me when all else has failed. It's worked. It's pulled me out of the pits of hell when I was so depressed or feeling sorry for myself. Somebody would call me or I would call them or get to a meeting and whoa, what a difference I would feel. I tell you, working with another recovering person is better than any shopping spree I've been on, any car that I've bought. It's a wonderful feeling. I'm sorry, heroin and drugs, get behind us, because when you get into this program and start working these steps, nothing is going to compare the feelings inside that it's going to give you over all this other stuff you've been out looking to try to find to fix you. Bill W. had a spiritual experience, and he just wanted to share this with everyone. He was so excited about what God had done for him that he just went out trying to help everybody, and they just got upset at him because they said, I've had enough of this God stuff. Well, when he came across Dr. Bob told him, let's stop doing that. Let's stop preaching the word. And let's just share with them about how hopeless this disease is, that they are truly powerless, that there is no cure, there's going to be no way out. And that way they can make a choice. Now, I know for a lot of people, the choice of a spiritual program is not always that, thrilling. And it may be because for yourself, you've had some spiritual abuse growing up. Maybe you've heard different things from different religions. Maybe somebody has been a spiritual person that abused you and said that you were a bad person and going to go to hell or something. You know, we all come from a different background with different teachings, and they're all good. There's a saying in the book that says, see where religious people are right and make use of what they offer. And it doesn't say what religion, all religions. See where all religions are right. They all have something to offer. Find what works for you. I had to find what worked for me. What worked for me may not work for you. It may not work for John or Mary. But if you are seeking, it says seek and you shall find. Knock and that door will be opened. Ask and you will receive. It has happened for me in my life. In my deepest, darkest moments, I had nothing to turn to. I'm going to just share with you quickly just a little bit, because I've done this before in my videos, where I come from. I come from a childhood where my mother was doing some terrible things, and I found out about it, and I went and told on her. She got very angry at me, and she pulled all the hair out of the back of my head. I mean, all my hair. And she beat me so bad I was laying on a pool of blood on the floor for hours till somebody came home. I can't really remember who came home, but either my brother or my stepfather at that time. She put me in closets, and she used to take me out of the closet, and she put a light on me, and she said, see, believing in God hurts. So I had tremendous spiritual abuse. Believing in God would hurt. But what happened, a couple of weeks after this incident, my brother came to me, and it's really ironic. And my brother's the one that's sober 39 years, Mike, that came to me. And we walked 3 miles. We went back one time and traced how far it was. Two little kids walking to this church that we'd been introduced to when we were little kids. It was a Catholic church. And when I walked in there, there was this man on the wall, and I thought to myself, this is really strange. There's some guy dead on a cross up on a wall. And you're only 5 years old, so I turned to the lady and I asked her, what is that? What is that up there? And she said, that's a man that loves you dearly. And something happened to me that day. I got connected with the higher power, and it never left me. Now, I've had to research and read a lot of different books. I've probably read every spiritual book that's on the shelves because I was desperately seeking to improve a relationship with the higher power. And a few of the books that worked for me and still work for me, and I'm not trying to sell any of these books, that's for sure, but I'm just sharing my own story, was Emmett Fox. Emmett Fox's book is a great book for a lot of us in recovery, because it's kind of takes a stand of a spiritual approach that most of us can handle. You'd have to read it to really know what I'm talking about. I had to fire the higher power I had. I had a punishing higher power, and I just believed that he was going to get me. The first book I read, I want to back up for a minute. So that experience at 5 years old, finding a higher power, stayed with me, and I went through from up till about 13, till my stepfather left, being beaten by my mother, verbally abused and sexually abused. And by the time I was 13, I was a mess. But I still had this faith going on. What I want to share with you about racism is real quick, because I don't want to forget to share this story. I was about 14 years old and I had been locked up and released and put into a foster home. I was sitting on a bus and two men pulled up on a car and was asking me directions, and what they were doing was tricking me, and they got me into their car and they beat me and sexually abused me for days. I was found in a beat up old car in the back of an alley. Well, these two men were black men. And I remember getting out of the car and I remember closing my eyes and I asked Jesus, I said, please don't let me ever hate black people. I didn't want to hate black people. Because at 5 years old, I had a lady help me when I was in the hospital. I was dying of pneumonia. And I thought she was a nurse, but later I realized this must have been a lady that was cleaning up in the hospitals, but she acted more like a nurse. If it wasn't for her love, I wouldn't be here today. And you know what's ironic? My first sponsor was a beautiful black lady, and I could never repay her for what she's done. And if you are hearing this, I don't know if you're still alive. I haven't heard from this lady, Donna. I just want you to know I love you. She was there for me. I mean, it wasn't just saying it'll get better. She did the walk. She let me talk to her at 2 o'clock in the morning. She took me out for coffee. She bought me my first big book. This lady was just awesome. On and on and on. You know, I'm just glad that the higher power I have today doesn't think like a lot of people and decide who deserves recovery and who doesn't, right? Anyway, so I wanted to share this quickly too. Fire the God you got if it's not working for you is what they suggested to me. It was really interesting. I remember my sponsor said, make a list of what your higher power would be like. What would he or she look like? And I made this list. And the first thing I put on there was all powerful, all loving, all caring, forgiving. And I couldn't help, for myself only though, is believe that Jesus had to be that for me, because his lifestyle and his teachings worked for me as far as the principles that were behind it. And I could always close my eyes growing up as a child and visualize him, and I could feel this safety, this love come through. Also, I want to share that at an earlier age, again, I was locked up, and when I was, 16, I think it was, or 17, in youth authority for running away from home. All this time I was running away from home from stepfathers that were abusive. I never got any arrest record, but they always locked me up. And when I was locked up in that place, I found a book called The Cross and the Switchblade. And that was very enlightening. That helped me a lot. And another book called The Greatest Story Ever Told. That saved my life too. So again, as a reminder, get rid of the God that hasn't worked for you, get a new one. There's a loving God that I have in my life. And if somebody gave me this idea, they say, if you're losing your faith or you're not sure about a higher power, borrow somebody else's for that day. You know, you can borrow mine. I have a lot of faith and hope today, and sometimes I don't, so I borrow yours. But for most part, I do. He has never failed me. He's never let me down whenever I've turned to him. Let's see, am I still got time? I want to go back to a couple of these issues. You know, we can go over and over about the laws that need to be changed. We can talk about the homeless people. I could go on about this terrible war that's happening. What else? Drug overdoses, babies that are born. Oh, God. You know, where do we start? It's a tough one. I feel it just goes back to one thing I've had an idea was the churches, if they get together and start opening up in their churches and letting addicts and alcoholics get rid of the shame thing and let them know that you're there for them. You know, say we have a group available that you can come in and talk about what's really going on with you. We're here to help you. We're here to help you develop a relationship with a higher power. There was a program I started, it's called RAP, Recovery Awareness Program, and that was the adolescents themselves that actually got this program going. And I'll tell you, those kids, man, they work hard. It's free. You just ask a church to have a room, and you get those teenagers and some of those parents out there volunteering to be there during the group time, And you just let those kids talk. You don't need a counselor or anything. They help each other. Just like, back to the same thing I was sharing. One alcoholic helping another, where the kids talk their own language. So let them have their own time to do that. Of course, supervised with some parents. Racism, what do we say? I was raised, I remember hearing such terrible things. I met this little black girl when I was 5 years old in school. Now remember, I'm born in 1953, so I was 5 years old. What would that have been, 1957? And she was being beaten pretty bad in the schools. And I remember trying to rescue her and help her and be her friend, and nobody liking me either because I was her friend. Well, But the ignorance, the stuff we're taught, it's just insane. In fact, today I wish my little Tito would come out here. I've got a guy here that helps me. He's the one that's putting on these shows, and Tito wants to come out here and give him a little hug. It is insane to think that there's anything different because of my color. I know what a lot of people go through at times. You could pick what you don't like about me. Let's see, my father was German and my mother was either Cuban or Indian, we're not sure. So you can pick which one you don't want to like, but what's that have to do with anything? Love is still the answer to all of our problems. There's my Tito. Oh, and my friend, we haven't given him a name yet, so any of you kids out there got an idea for a name for my little guy here, I need you to give him a name. This is Tito. Tito, you want to introduce yourself to the audience and tell us?
Yeah, my name is Tito, and I'm from Africa, really southeast, somewhere called Tanzania. From way in the east. I've been here a couple of years, 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, and so I became into photography and doing videos, and now I'm here with you.
And I appreciate all the work you do.
Yeah, it's nice to see you.
You're a blessing. Anything you want to say to the audience about God, how you feel about God?
Yeah. God is really great. If you look for him, he'll find you, and not really. God is always good. He's never changed. Even some people feel like he has. He's still the same. He loves people, and some people just don't love him for no reason. Yeah, that's pretty much that's what I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm gonna go.
Okay,
Leave
thank
you on the show.
Thank you, Tito.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're a blessing. You are.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough for what you do to help me.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
And so there's proof. Love is the answer. I don't know what else would work. Okay, where do I come back to? Let's see. Let me just start ending this here. I think I'm getting close to the end. Okay. So I want to remind you that I'm only here. I'm just sharing my experience, strength, and hope. And I can't push the love solution more than I've done. I hope that you know that's the only answer for what our problems in our world are today. It hasn't changed. Gandhi said, an eye for an eye, makes the whole world blind. Who are the other people that we love and has changed the world? Mother Teresa, Martin Luther King. I could go on and on. There's a list. There wouldn't be enough time to list them all. So just, remember what they taught us, and let's keep praying for those people that are suffering, and to the moms that are, and the fathers that have lost a son or a daughter from an overdose. My hearts and my prayers are with you. I am too, and get very frightened. Don't know when I'm going to get that phone call that my son has died from alcoholism. As they told me early in recovery, if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, we have a solution for you, and it'll never fail if you go about it 1/2 the zeal you were trying to do when you were trying to get another drink. As Dr. Bob said, your Heavenly Father will never let you go down. And to my viewers and my wonderful Facebook friends, thank you for joining me here today. These are wonderful people on Facebook. You've got to join one of their groups. Every day they're reaching out, trying to help another alcoholic and addict. And to all those special people, I don't want you to forget that you're in our prayers, those ones that are trying to make these laws better for ourselves today, our senators and our representatives in our states. Thank you very much. I also want to share the Addict's Mom would like to invite you to join them. And I've got the Addict's Mom little flyer here, and they're asking you to light some candles, and that's why I put some candles here. I don't know which side I should put this on. You can go to their website. It's www.facebook.com/groups Heroin Memorial. And I want to thank Monty Meyer of Take 12 Radio of Albany, Oregon, for all of his support. He works very hard trying to save addicts from the pits of hell by providing recovery topics. It's a faith-based group, wonderful group of people there. Thank you, Monty Meyer. We love you. And if you like my shows and you would like to donate, please contact me at timetohealwithpam@gmail.com. Be sure to join my group, though. I have a group on Facebook. It's called Time to Heal. And again, no matter what you're going through, just know that there's a higher power looking over you, and he loves you, and you're never alone. I can't stress that enough. I'm only as alone as I choose to be. And I don't choose that anymore. It's self-abusive. So don't do this by yourself. Reach out, call somebody right now. There are people that love you and care about you, and they really want to help you. And we're here for you too. If you need more information on anything I've talked about today or on my shows, give me a call at 208-340-3274. So don't give up, because your miracle is on its way.
I woke up from a dream that someday was reality. Someday we would finally find and own our own peace of mind. Someday all of our needs wouldn't be controlled by greed. Tell me, why does it have to be so